On the morning of her 30th birthday, Emma Parker woke up feeling absolutely nothing. No excitement. No anticipation. No sense of celebration. The kind that settles deep inside a person after years of living on autopilot. The sunlight streamed through the curtains of her apartment in Seattle as her phone buzzed relentlessly on the nightstand. Birthday messages. Texts from friends. Notifications from social media. A voicemail from her mother. Emma silenced them all. Instead of getting out of bed, she stared at the ceiling. 30. She had imagined this age differently. At 20, she thought 30 would mean certainty. Confidence. A successful career. A happy marriage. A life that felt complete. Instead, she felt trapped. Her marketing job paid well, but she hated it. Her wedding was only 6 weeks away. And every time someone asked if she was excited, she forced a smile she didn't truly feel. Her fiancé, Ryan, looked perfect on paper. Successful. Handsome. Responsible. The kind of man everyone approved of. Including her mother. Especially her mother. Yet lately, something felt wrong. Nothing dramatic. Nothing she could explain. Just a quiet voice inside her that kept asking the same question. Is this really the life you want? Emma pushed the thought away. She had done that for months. Maybe years. Eventually, she dragged herself out of bed and decided to spend the morning cleaning. It was easier than thinking. Her apartment had become cluttered with wedding magazines, unopened mail, and boxes she hadn't touched since moving in. One dusty box sat forgotten in the back of her closet. It had belonged to her childhood bedroom. Old books. School notebooks. Photographs. The kind of things people keep meaning to sort through but never do. She smiled as she pulled out old drawings. Report cards. Birthday cards from relatives she'd barely remembered. Then she found an old hardcover book. A faded copy of The Secret Garden. Her favorite book when she was a child. The cover was worn. The pages yellowed. As she opened it, something slipped out and landed on the floor. A sealed envelope. Emma frowned. The paper looked old. Very old. Dusty around the edges. As though it had been hidden there for years. Curious, she picked it up. Then froze. Written across the front were 6 words. Open on your 30th birthday. Her heart skipped. Slowly, she turned the envelope over. No stamp. No address. No indication of who had written it. Only those 6 words. Emma stared. Something about the handwriting felt familiar. Uncomfortably familiar. She sat down on the couch. The room suddenly felt quieter. Her fingers traced the letters. Then realization struck. The handwriting looked exactly like hers. Not similar. Identical. A chill ran down her spine. She laughed nervously. Impossible. Maybe she had written it years ago and forgotten. Maybe. Yet she couldn't remember doing anything like that. Not even remotely. The envelope remained sealed. Waiting. For several minutes she simply stared at it. Part of her wanted to throw it away. Another part couldn't resist. Finally, she opened it. Inside was a single folded sheet of paper. The handwriting matched the envelope. Her handwriting. Emma unfolded it slowly. The first sentence made her blood run cold. If you're reading this, something went terribly wrong. She blinked. Then read it again. And again. The words didn't change. A strange feeling settled in her stomach. The letter continued. First, don't panic. I know what you're thinking. No, you're not crazy. And yes, this is really your handwriting. Emma's pulse quickened. The room felt smaller somehow. She continued reading. You won't remember writing this. That's normal. But before you stop reading, answer one question honestly. Emma swallowed. The next line read, Are you happy? Her eyes remained fixed on the page. For several seconds she couldn't move. Because the answer came immediately. No. The terrifying part was how quickly she knew it. The letter continued. If you had to think about the answer, then you already know the truth. Emma stared at the words. A knot formed in her chest. How could a random letter know exactly what she was feeling? Outside, a car horn sounded. Somewhere a dog barked. But inside the apartment, everything felt strangely distant. The next paragraph was even worse. Right now you're planning a wedding. Emma sat upright. Every muscle in her body tightened. The letter continued. You're probably looking around wondering how I know that. Her breathing became shallow. She hadn't told many people about the wedding date. Certainly not anyone who could have hidden a letter decades earlier. She kept reading. The man you're planning to marry isn't a bad person. Emma frowned. What? She whispered aloud. The letter continued. He just isn't your future. A wave of her knees washed over her. Her eyes moved quickly to the next line. And suddenly the room felt ice cold. Do not marry Ryan. Emma dropped the paper. The letter fluttered onto the floor. For several seconds she simply stared. Her heart pounded so loudly she could hear it. No. This was ridiculous. Some bizarre coincidence. Nothing more. She bent down and picked the paper up again, determined to prove herself right. But the next sentence stopped her cold. You're going to tell yourself it's nonsense. But before you ignore me, check the inside pocket of your old blue backpack. Emma froze. The old blue backpack. She hadn't thought about it in nearly 20 years. In fact, she wasn't even sure she still had it. Slowly, she stood, walked toward the closet, and began searching. Minutes later, she found it, buried beneath old winter clothes, exactly where it had been forgotten. Her hands trembled. The zipper barely moved. Inside were old school papers, broken pencils, a faded friendship bracelet, and one small silver key. Emma stared. She had never seen the key before. At least she didn't remember seeing it. With shaking hands she returned to the couch. The letter waited. Silent. Patient. As though it knew she would come back. Emma looked at the key. Then at the paper. Then at the final paragraph. And what she read next changed everything. Because the letter didn't just know about the key. It knew exactly where it fit. And according to the final sentence, there was another letter waiting for her. One she was never supposed to find. Until now.